Hey, what's up, dudes? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. A little bit different. We're probably going to get back to this format in some way, shape, or form. Doing the live content is a lot of fun, but it's also very taxing. So we're probably going to cut back on the streams a little bit and get back to some pre-recorded content. Today, specifically, I want to talk about Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. That's coming out on April 24th, 2025. I'm super excited for this game. I'm also super nervous for this game because we haven't had a true Fatal Fury game since Garu Mark of the Wolves back in 1999. We haven't had a Fatal Fury game in that long. It's a little scary because the game, the series, the franchise hasn't existed in a major way in a very long time. King of Fighters is obviously like keeping the SNK name alive along with some other games. I think Samurai Showdown's SNK. And maybe some other things that are happening, but King of Fighters 15 didn't do extremely well because of the online problems that it had when it first came out. Those problems have obviously been resolved since then, but that kind of shut the game down in its tracks. Like, it didn't really have a chance to succeed or thrive because of that. Now we have Fatal Fury City of the Wolves coming out, and it's coming out at a time when we are neck deep in amazing fighting games. And of course, that can definitely be debated. Some people say that Tekken 8 is not a very good fighting game, and I feel like that conversation is fairly new. When Tekken 8 first came out, and for like the first 6 or 7 months, all I saw were like super positive things about Tekken 8, right? Like, it's fast, it's quick, it's mix-up heavy, it's so much faster than Tekken 7, and then I think Arslan Ash, a professional player for Tekken 8, came out and said, you know, this game is not fun, it's stressful, it's depressing to play at a competitive level because of all the mix-ups, constantly guessing, etc, etc. So it can be debated, and that's the same with Street Fighter 6. All I heard was positive things for Street Fighter 6 for like the first year, and then you have all these people coming out saying it's too explosive, the drive meter sucks, and everything else. But that's all subjective. I think for the most part, we are neck deep in probably some of the best fighting games, or at least widely accepted good fighting games in a very long time. If you look back to like 2015 when Mortal Kombat X Street Fighter V came out, and then a couple of years later when Injustice 2 came out, and even after that with Mortal Kombat 11, the fighting games of that time weren't the best. Tekken 7's held in a pretty good regard, but I really liked FeedDX's video on like Tekken 7 isn't as good as you remember, because I remember playing Tekken 7 not very much, and I couldn't get into Tekken 7 because I tried it after I tried MK11. And MK11 was such a slow, defensive, you're stuck in neutral the whole time. It was a strike-throw fighting game, it was super slow, it had a bunch of comeback mechanics. And that's how Tekken 7 felt for me. I felt like I was getting timeouts and more than any other thing in the game. So like, we're in a generation of like fighting games now where they're actually fun. Street Fighter V was horrible on launch, it got better as time went on. MK11, one of the worst fighting games ever designed in my opinion, but now we're on to Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, we have Guilty Gear Strive, we still have people playing Dragon Ball FighterZ, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero if you want to argue that, and it's a little nerve-wracking for a game like this that hasn't been around in over 20 years, 25 years, come onto the scene. And it's scary because the game looks good. You're obviously watching gameplay as I'm talking here. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves looks very good. It doesn't look new, and that's what scares me. It obviously has what makes Fatal Fury Fatal Fury. It has the run mechanic, it has all of the SNK Fatal Fury characters that it's known for. Mai, Terry, Rock, and I'm sure there's more to be revealed there, but it looks very similar to Street Fighter 6 in my opinion. Obviously the mechanics are drastically different, but it seems like SNK is doing what SNK always has, and kinda copied the vibe of Street Fighter 6, which isn't a bad thing, but it's a scary thing in the instance of we are playing one of the best Street Fighters we've had since Street Fighter 4 came out. And again, that's subjective, so like, can it survive Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8? Are people actually going to come over to Fatal Fury City of the Wolves and stick with it? Or is it going to be another one of these fighting games that come out, even though it's from SNK, and even though it's a series that, you know, is pretty widely accepted as a good fighting game franchise from a good fighting game developer, are people going to stick with it? I think the thing for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is it really has to nail everything, right? And they haven't. from some of the things that I've seen, while the gameplay looks amazing, it seems like everything outside of the gameplay at the early development stage, granted that we've seen it in, looks pretty basic and pretty bare bones. The character select screen for one of the demos we've seen where they were actually able to like go in and pick their character, I think it was the actual like Evo tournament they did for it, it was very bare bones and basic. It was not an exciting character select screen. And you might be like, well, why the hell does that even matter? And I think in fighting games, I mean, if you look at some of the more popular fighting games, like what's Marvel vs. Capcom 2 known for, outside of being like one of the most crazy broken fighting games ever? It's known for the main menu music, dude, and the crazy ass globe main menu with all the different characters on it. You know, I want to take you for a ride, like that shit. Street Fighter Third Strike, it's known for the character select music and the music in general, you know? So like having a cool character select screen is like one of the most basic things for a fighting game to me. And no, it doesn't make or break a fighting game, but it kind of gives me an idea of everything outside of the gameplay. Like, how much content are we going to get? How much effort and funding did they get to put into the rest of the fighting game outside of the graphics and obvious like gameplay design? Like, is there going to be enough content there for casuals, for competitive players? Is it going to keep people coming back? Because as much as I really haven't interacted with World Tour on Street Fighter 6 or any of the arcade stuff on Tekken 8, whatever, it seems to keep casual players coming back and playing the game. It seems to help sales. If we look at one of, if not the, I think it's the second best selling fighting game of all time, maybe third or fourth, Mortal Kombat 11, that had a ton of casual content. Even though it was one of the worst designed fighting games ever, in my opinion, it still had enough content to keep casual players playing the game and even competitive players playing the game 4 years into the game. It was one of the longest life cycles for a NetherRealm Studio game, and it was still played more 4 years in, 3 years in, than Mortal Kombat 1 is today. At its like third Evo, it had more entrants almost than Mortal Kombat 1's first Evo. And that's because it had so many people playing. It hooked the casual players and turned them into competitive players. And even the casual players it couldn't do that to, the numbers were, they just kept going up because it just had so much content. And that's kind of what we need with a fighting game in this day and age. And I know I'm nitpicking on a character select screen, but it really makes me think about the rest of the game. Like, outside of gameplay and match-to-match online matches, what are we going to have? It's a little scary, considering, like, Street Fighter 6 has a World Tour mode that is still consistently updated. It has its little fightcade thing where you can go in with your avatar and fight other people with your weirdos and play like these classic Capcom games at an arcade. And it adds new, well, old Capcom games to like fighting passes and stuff like that. Street Fighter 6 has a shit ton of content. Tekken 8, while I haven't interacted with it too much, I've heard it has a lot of content that keeps casual players playing. And no, the sales aren't as high as Mortal Kombat 11, but they're still really, really well selling fighting games. And it's going to be hard to pull that casual fan base and even the competitive fan base away from those two games, with the gameplay being fun. Pretty widely agreed that the gameplay for both of those games are fun, especially at a casual level. It's going to be hard to pull those people away from that fighting game, from those fighting games, to a fighting game that not only hasn't been around for over 20 years, over 25 years, but a fighting game that doesn't have a ton of content. Now, I know I'm kind of being fear-mongering and critical of a game that's still in development that we really haven't seen much of lately in this video, but I'm being critical and putting it out there because I really, really want this fighting game to do well. We are at the point right now where we have 3 fighting games to really look forward to outside of Guilty Gear's, like, our Guilty Gear or whatever Arc System Works is doing, like a Dragon Ball fighting game or a new Guilty Gear. We have Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and Mortal Kombat. New Street Fighter, new Tekken, new Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat hasn't exactly been hitting for the past few releases in RS in general since Injustice 2. Street Fighter 6, while it's good, It gets old after a little bit of time. Same with Tekken 8, you know, you can only play one game so much. It would be amazing to have another classic fighting game franchise come back and be a mainstay. I really, really want that to happen because I want to have more options than Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8. And that's the hope with Marvel vs. Capcom 4 potentially being in development right now. But this is a game we have to look forward to within the next 2.5 months. So I think it's important to air out these concerns and hopefully get some information coming out on what we're actually going to have in Fatal Fury. I want nothing more than for this fighting game to succeed. I want another dope, crazy, content-rich fighting game to keep my attention, but also keep other people's attention so I have somebody to play it with, right? So yeah, I am a little worried about Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. I really do think if they nail the casual side of things and add good content, even if it's not a lot of content, just quality content to the game, I hope it will do well. Even then, it's a little scary, but I hope they do it right. I hope that character select screen that we saw wasn't what we have to look forward to with everything outside of the gameplay. But I want you dudes to let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. Are you worried about this? Have I missed something that's been said about Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, like when it comes to this casual content, like outside of competitive online play? Have I missed it? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, dudes. I really appreciate it. We'll be back to a normal schedule soon. We'll be streaming again, making videos, more videos like this with commentary type stuff. But yeah, thanks for being here, dudes. See you guys next time. Peace out.